Good evening. The date is July 14, 1945. Germany has surrendered and war in Europe has come to an end. Hitler's Nazis have been vanquished and American soldiers are returning home. Families and friends everywhere from California, Iowa to New York are welcoming back their men and women after 3 long years of furious war. In a cottage on the quiet shores of Walloon Lake, Michigan, await Mariam, the young wife of First Lieutenant Morgan Jablonski, who was listed missing in action after the invasion of Normandy on June 6, 1944. This is her story and revelation that soon comes to her door. In the dark, we hear Mariam's voice as the lights slowly rise.
We never left after that. Morgan found small jobs here and there, but never enough to win his mother's approval. They had a strange bond, one I never fully understood. It was as if she had a rope tied to his heart, bogging him down. Whenever I brought it up, he'd change the subject. And looking back, the only good thing about the war was that it gave him an excuse to get away from her. As he boarded the train, I saw it in his eyes. At last he'd be free of his mother's hold on him.
I had no idea it was like that between them.
Neither did I before our marriage.
Do you remember how happy you were at your wedding? You have no idea how envious I was of you that day. William and I weren't getting along then, and when I saw you and Morgan taking your vows, I thought for sure I was looking at the perfect couple.
In a way we were. But I soon learned we don't just marry the one we love, but we inherit their family ghosts as well.
If that's true, then my marrying William inherited me a whole cemetery.
Oh, Mabel, you say the most wicked things. Wait here. I'll be back in a minute.
She exits through her bedroom doorway. I hated myself for wearing that gaudy yellow dress. William talked me into it. It was a gift for my birthday. I never told him, but I cut it up and covered our veranda pillows with it.
You didn't.
I most certainly did. I looked like a mustard jar in high heels. Oh, look at those two of you. Wasn't Morgan handsome in his black tuxedo? And you, never was there a more beautiful bride.
Oh, thank you. I was so proud of him that day.
Who fixed your hair?
Stacy Rollins.
Didn't she go away to college?
Yes, she did. I heard once the war broke out, she enlisted in the army. She does clerical work or something. She'll be heading over to England once her leave is up.
Oh my God, look at that. Didn't Harriet know she was wearing the most atrocious dress? Wasn't there a mirror in the house?
She bought the pattern fabric and she begged me to sew it.
There it is. It's worse than I remember. Oh, what was I thinking? Was I colorblind? It's absolutely horrible. Was there ever an uglier yellow in the world? But at least my hair was lovely. And don't my legs look nice? Do you ever get lonely?
What do you mean?
Do you ever look at other men?
No, why should I?
I admit, since William left, it's all I do.
This is making me uncomfortable. Can we change the subject?
I'm sorry.
It's difficult to look past today.
I understand.
If you're asking if I miss what we shared, I do. Nights are the worst. There are times I feel like I could just reach out into the darkness and just wrap my arms around him.
Hello!
Harriet!
What are you girls doing? Having a tea party without me? I asked you to tidy up, but nothing's been touched.
Oh, we've got to talking. I'm sorry.
Sorry never milks the cows or harvests the crops. It's my doing, Harriet. I'm an obsessive talker. Been one all my life. I see you brought her another dress. Yes, Mrs. Pennington's hem needs shortening. Her trouble is she cares too much about what others think. Have you noticed how she flutters around, fidgeting with her dress, pulling and straightening? I swear she does it for attention. It's disgraceful. A married woman behaving the way she does.
I don't think she means anything by it.
Oh, she does. You should have seen her in school. When the boys were around, she would perk up, all bubbly with smiles. Oh, my God, it made my teeth ache how sweet she was. A phony. That's Darlene Pennington. Was then and is now. Some people just don't change. They're like leopards that never change their spots. A married woman needs to know her place.
I believe that people can change.
Do you now?
Yeah, I do.
And how would that be?
I think if a person has the will to see things differently, they'll change somehow.
See what differently?
I'm not sure, but I think they can.
How can you believe something you can't even explain? Are you listening to how silly you sound? Life's about substance, Mariam. Crazy thoughts are only buckets full of holes that hold no water.
Well, that's what I think.
That's enough about Darlene. We have cleaning to do and dinner to prepare. I thought mashed potatoes would go nicely with the chicken. Do you feel up to peeling a few?
I don't mind.
Good. And we have a surprise. Pastor Dupree's bringing a guest.
Who?
And not just any old guest, but a young man who has a strong back and is willing to do chores around the cottage.
Who is he?
Don't know. Sebastian mentioned something about his being a war veteran looking to work, and that's good enough for me. We've got plenty of that for him. Apparently, he knows our Morgan, and I can't wait until we hear what he has to say. Well, we better get started. I'll be off then. Why don't you stay and have supper with us? There's plenty to go around. I'd love to, but I've got pressing business in Petoskey that needs handling. Well, supper is around 6 o'clock if you decide to stop by. We'll set a place at the table for you, just in case. That's sweet of you, Harriet. I just may surprise you. You do just that. Well, Mariam and I have our hands full until then.
Where are the potatoes?
They're in the bag on the counter. I got some nice fresh ones. Make sure you'll get all the skin off. We want them looking pretty.
I'll walk Mabel out first.
That's not necessary. I'll get back to you later about the dress, all right?
It shouldn't take long.
Thanks again, Harriet. Don't forget, 6 o'clock, and drive safe. I will. Goodbye. Mabel exits. Can you remember the last person we had for dinner?
Mr. Schelling, I believe. About a month ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. He thought he had a real catch all right. Imagine that man thinking I'd be interested. Oh, he offered to check my plumbing, but I swear his eyes were on my land instead. Can you believe he was trying to sweet-talk me? What was he thinking? Besides, he's not my type.
What is your type?
Heavens! I'd have to give that some thought. At my age, you grow accustomed to living a certain way, and those are things you just don't think of anymore.
But if you were, looking, what kind of man would it be?
What kind of foolish question is that?
I'm just curious.
Well, I guess there's no harm in pretending.
No harm.
I don't rightly know. I suppose someone like my father. Yes, one you can trust. A man of his word, he was, and they don't come around very often. Oh, but this is silly. That type of man only comes once in a lifetime.
Oh, what a shame.
What's a shame?
Being alone.
How is that any concern of yours? You've got our Morgan.
That's not it.
What in heavens are you saying? What's not it mean?
I'm sorry, but it's difficult to explain.
See there? How do you expect others to ever understand you? What Morgan saw in you is beyond me.
I wish you wouldn't.
Wouldn't what?
Say those things.
Speak up, girl. Wouldn't what?
I know Morgan loves me.
I never said he didn't.
But you imply things.
Oh, what goes on in that head of yours? I think we'd better discuss this another time, or the chicken will be raw come supper time. Make sure to peel at least 12 potatoes. We don't want anyone going hungry. Do you remember how handsome he was in his pressed uniform as we saw him off at the station?
Yes.
Oh, he made his mother proud that day. Oh, if only father could have lived to see him. What do you suppose he was thinking when his train pulled out?
I don't know.
I bet he thought, what am I going to do now without my mother fussing over me? Oh, he's a good boy, all right. I'm hard on him, but he knows I love him. The lights slowly fade on Harriet. What did he whisper in your ear? I've always been curious. Did he mention me? Did he say he was going to miss us? Oh, it doesn't matter. We'll have him home soon enough. That's all that matters, isn't it? We just need to keep thinking happy thoughts, because that's what brings up the roses. Mariam peeling potatoes, neither listening to Harriet's words nor thinking of Morgan's return, but only of the day she'll be set free as the lights fade to black.